Hi, my name is Zilken. I'm the author of Blue Mountain Mist. I am doing another insert today, and this one has to do with the devil's tongue. Now, what exactly is the devil's tongue? The devil's tongue is any of the Turkic linguistics that go from Africa into the land of First Nations. Why was it historically hidden? It was historically hidden due to the fact that the church wanted nothing with the barbaric Turks and their historical violence. That is the key. They saw them too much as pagan. They were always linked to early human. Now, when Christ landed, Hannah really believes the devil's tongue was eliminated, but that was part of an act of God, which was technically a blessing for humanity. Hannah believes that because what it did, it did things in a different form that brought out thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of academia. So just the move away from native brought out Europe's old light, or the United States, or even Canada. For example, in Canada, McGill and UFT, UBC, those are part of the move away from the devil's tongue. In the United States, when we're thinking about advanced, we're looking at Harvard and Boston and Yale, Princeton. All of those are again a move away from the devil's tongue. When we think of Europe, it's the same. There's Oxford, any of the university networks. A move away from the devil's tongue brought out academia, and brought out the church. So the church and UFT and the church and Princeton and the church and Oxford was a form of higher intelligence, and that is how they perceived it. There was a problem. Hannah was embroiled without knowing in something that the Turks or the Russians generated, which was an Intel chip. This chip was lethal. When she got hit with that, the first thing she did was attack the university networks, or how she calls them, the foo-foos of Earth, the super, super, super rich. Because what was her problem with that? The problem was this piece of device broke humans. It literally broke humans. What did these guys want to do? Utilizing Harvard and Yale and Princeton, they wanted to use this device to create a large enough gap that they don't have to property manage. So that is what they want. So between the taste of all your food, between this particular thing that's called an urban sprawl, are these guys right? They are 150% right. They are owning large components of industry, and they try to regulate pollution. So technically, is it humans' fault? In a way it is, and but it's not without being aware. So what did these foo-foos do that Hannah calls them foo-foo? The first thing they did was they got the Indians involved. Now, these guys, the kings and queens, are always stealing something or another. That is just the part of their existence to regulate this horrific monster of an urban sprawl. You have to understand, in 1998, when the devil's tongue was brought out, Hannah's brother didn't realize what it would do. And to counter this, the first thing they did was got the Indians involved. So when Hannah was super clean, because remember, Hannah's a regular civilian, she became sandwiched because the first thing the Indians did said, no, we cannot have a chosen that does not steal, that does not do all these kinky things, and we just can't have something that's a white Negro chosen. But Hannah's role was not a chosen. Hannah's role, in her mind, was one that was given the title of prophet. Remember, she's linked to a divination story that is very, very interesting. So what did India do? Because they got so damn threatened, they got the Chinese involved. And I'm sorry, I didn't have a picture for the Chinese. And they got the Greeks involved. And they propped up a fake kind of doll and walked her around Europe. That is what they did. But when Hannah got horrifically injured, and this is some gossip for you, to make Hannah happy, because she was technically a Negro, they got a black female into Buckingham Palace. As the project grew with Animal to Hominid and 5 or 6 of the Sun collections released without Hannah, because remember, Hannah is kind of in lockdown. She's quietly working to try to fix this devil's tongue thing, which she really wants. She wants that project because of her brother. Her brother was specializing in India at that particular time, Turkic minorities inside India. This is part of heritage of the globe. So to make Hannah happy, they put a black woman in Buckingham Palace as a concubine. Now, most people don't know that, and they figured, the Indian community figured, with this particular chip and these foo-foos here, we'll just make Megan Indian years later. That's the way they're thinking. Well, the richest didn't get the Orthodox involved, who started getting paranoid. And when the Orthodox got involved and started getting paranoid, now they bought out large sections of this particular corporation with this particular device, because when they got paranoid, now the military gave them one piece of equipment, and that, I don't know if that was good or bad, but that is how it started. And they refused to give that equipment back, screaming Allah Akbar in the Jewish form inside New York City. That is what was happening. What ended up continuing is the Hornet's Nest got involved and asked the Orthodox Jews to give it back. And then the Greeks told the Orthodox, absolutely not, because we want nothing to do with that tongue. We only want Indian. Now, why did the Greeks only want Indian? Because they were both, all these 3 communities were lovers. Well, when you're lovers, that's good, but you're dealing with things not even with emotion and not from the logistics of a better planet. And that was the issue. The Hornet's Nest said no to the fluffy people now. This is our piece of toy, give it back. Then Russia got involved, China got involved. And as they abused Hannah in Wolfville, they didn't realize what Hannah was doing. Hannah was already chosen. So with this particular phone, she was able to broadcast to other parts of the world, releasing some of this information as WikiLeaks failure. That is what Hannah was doing. But then the fluffy people got the Shaniquas involved, which are the jail people, and told the Shaniquas, if you don't steal this from Hannah, you're going to go back to jail as a Shaniqua. So the last thing they wanted to do was give Hannah that $40 billion, being not a thief. So this is where it's beginning. Hannah said, I want to exist in this urban sprawl in a clean format, in how she was raised as a Muslim female, or how she was raised with her 3 black mothers as a Christian female. Well, the fluffy people said, absolutely not. Then the fluffy people merged with the Indian, the medicals, and the Greeks said, in the name of holy, we will now make all the migrants not Asian, but black, and start eliminating Africa. Now, this is where it gets really, really ugly. You have to understand, these are part of C3's most in-depth look. Now, let's go back to urban sprawl. Are the Orthodox Jews anal? Yes, they are. Are they right? They are 1,000 rights, because this sprawl exists like a tumor on Earth, starting in Africa all the way into San Diego, Chile, in southern South America. It is a lethal sprawl, and it puts one human into one house, and Jews do their best, very best, to try to get them one fridge, one stove, a couple of shoes, some entertainment, a divorce lawyer, this and that, and this and that. So it's one of the hardest jobs, and we don't get any of these communities. We think that we're just picking on them. The Indians get it. The fluffy people get it. The doctors may not get it, but it is a very hard and lethal existence, as we abuse the crap out of animals and get abuse the crap out of a lot of the prisoners, a lot of the Shaniquas, to produce food for us in these kind of settings. And that is the biggest problem. So by Hanna being an oddball amongst them, it was like a sore thumb in their fluffy existence of trying to manage these guys. So we can't really blame them. When we do the movie, it's even more lethal than that. This is just an overview. However, what Hanna did was pull tricks and just pull the project back for another reason. She believes that it gives an alternative train of thought for this type of existence, and a non-functioning existence. Do we need these types of sprawls? Yes, we do. In a way, we do. It's the safety of humans. It's the alternative thought of managing with the proposals and the sun collection. So what Hannah's trying to do is utilize her sun collection to release pressure of this type of sprawl. And they had some trouble. The story was so insane. Story was so absolutely insane. The Orthodox were convinced that the fluffy people were out to get them, because you have to understand, this female changed Jerusalem. This female brought out something called the devil's tongue. But the devil's tongue is a blessing from God now. And in 2021, we have to understand what a blessing the devil's tongue is. And we'll explain why. Just like back then, when Christ brought out the Indo-European, or started that movement of academia, intelligence, Oxford, the devil's tongue is needed right now to pull humans back and redesign Earth from this type of existence. Because what is Hanna doing? She is actually generating thousands of ideas to release the pressure of this, to release the pressure of the Shaniquas in jail, to not hurt the Greeks, to create a different type of existence as a micro sample. And this is it didn't start out like that. It started out as research for Iraq in 2003, and then it exploded from there, because when she was studying Iraq, she was also studying the urban sprawl of Iraq, which was even more lethal than anything. Just visualize this, but in desert format, with everything looking like a beige color, and it's just cooking to death under the sun. So this is like a more cooler topography, but it was not easy. So this is where we are today. We're doing another entry, and it has not been easy. And this device here is one of the most lethal. Hanna is relatively strong. It broke humans. It royally broke humans, and that is what the fluffies want in protecting their position in managing the urban sprawls. So the fluffies want the humans to be broken. We absolutely don't want that. And then all of them got involved in battles. So this is part of C3's history. Thank you and have a good day.